There are always consequences.
Going down. Please go down fighting.
You cannot know what comes next.
Fire!
Black Ops 2's zombies maps are pretty synonymous with tedious perk locations. In transit, they're all 40 kilometers away from each other. In Nuketown, they spawn in randomly. In Die Rise, you have to find the right elevators. In Mob of the Dead, they're okay. In Buried, many of them you have to run all the way across an obstacle course to get. Whenever I downed in these maps, I would tend to just quit the game because I didn't feel like running around to get my perks back. Clearly, some sort of fix was needed. In 2013, Origins would introduce a new mechanic known as Der Wunderfizz. This would act like a mystery box, but for Perk-a-Colas. For 1500 points, you could spin for a random perk and choose whether or not to take it. Just like the box, after a few spins it would move to another location. While Origins doesn't really have any awful perk locations, this is certainly still a nice addition to a large map. It also introduced perks which didn't have machines on the map, such as Double Tap, Electric Cherry, Deadshot Daiquiri, and PhD Flopper. It added lots of diversity to perk selections that allowed for the thrill of gambling to apply to expensive perks like Mule Kick. The Wunderfizz would appear on and off again in the future. It would be in Black Ops 3's DLC cycle, Black Ops 4 kind of, and Black Ops Cold War. In Black Ops 3, the Wunderfizz would be identical to that of Origins. In Black Ops 4, the machine would not exist directly. Instead, the player could partake in a new perk known as Secret Sauce, which would give them a random perk. While you couldn't turn down a Secret Sauce perk, you could buy it as many times as you wanted, and you could keep on rolling over and over for new perks, still for 1500 points. In Black Ops Cold War, the Wunderfizz would return, but slightly altered. Because of the new perk system where the player can acquire all perks at an exponentially increasing price, the Wunderfizz no longer worked as a gamble mechanic. It would be too easy for a player to simply just keep spinning and collecting cheap perks. Instead, the Wunderfizz was converted into its own perk machine which the player could buy any perk from for its ordinary price. This, in my opinion, is one of Cold War's biggest flaws. The removal of the gamble of the Wunderfizz almost entirely eradicates the use of perk machines. Except for early game instances where you cannot use the Wunderfizz yet, there is no incentive to not use the Wunderfizz. The best example I can give of this is Firebase Z. If you're not doing the Easter egg or hitting the box, there is zero incentive whatsoever for you to be in the main Firebase. Everything you could possibly need is in the village at spawn because of the Wunderfizz. You have all perks, Pack-a-Punch, an armor station, and a crafting table at your disposal, making the rest of the map completely useless, apart from the mandatory, things. I don't know what they're called. This is a bigger problem altogether with the design of the map, but for the video's sake, I will confine it to just the Wunderfizz. The only instance in which the Wunderfizz is genuinely applicable to good design is in maps where there are not all perk machines. However, this doesn't take away from the lack of gamble. It may not seem like it on the surface, but the Wunderfizz is one of the many elements that hinders Cold War from being memorable. If they were to fix the machine, I propose that perhaps you make the Wunderfizz cost 500 points less than the current perk rate, but at the cost of forcing you to drink a random perk similar to Secret Sauce, except you get to keep stacking perks. This by no means alleviates the true issue, but it's a start. A further fix would have to be a 4 perk limit by default, which the player can extend through the Wunderfizz at an increased price. Say, after your first 4 perks, each new perk costs 2500 more rather than 500 more. This sounds like a lot, but Cold War has so many systems in place to keep you in power that I think the trade-off is necessary to keep some difficulty. While I still think the Wunderfizz is a great addition to zombies and certainly was necessary for innovation, I can't help but feel sad at how it's been tarnished over the years. I'd love to see it return to the gamble it once was, however that doesn't seem too likely now that we know Vanguard is supposed to have lots of systems very similar to Cold War's.